Episode 18, The Escape. After witnessing the destruction of the Aeotian people by the hands of the First Order, Tam has a change of heart and decides to defect. Using the comlink that she steals back from Tyranny, Tam sets up a rendezvous with Kaz on where it all started, the planet of Castellon. Kaz of course agrees to come and has Yeager and CB23 join him, while Doza suspects this could just as easily be a First Order trap too, but in the end he reluctantly allows the three to go. On Castellon, Tam finally meets of Kaz and Yeager, face to face for the first time since she abandoned them almost a year ago on this very same spot. However, their reunion is cut short once the First Order catches wind of Tam's plan and captures them. Fortunately, with the help of CB23, the trio managed to evade capture several times aboard the Star Destroyer, even getting out a signal to warn the Colossus in the process. The transmission itself motivates the civilians aboard the Colossus to stop running away and for once stand their ground against the First Order. When Pyre's Star Destroyer does find and reach the Colossus, both Ace and Jade Squadron engage with the massive First Order fleet. Back on the Colossus, the civilians begin to defend their home by fighting the First Order ground assault team using any means they can. Meanwhile, after immobilizing Pyre and his troops, Kaz, Yeager, Tam, and CB23 get in a transport ship and escape the Star Destroyer. And thanks to CB23 who shut down the Star Destroyer's shield systems, it allowed the Colossus attack team to easily take out the defenseless battle cruiser and destroy it once and for all. In the aftermath of the battle on the Colossus, Tam is able to thank everyone and apologizes for her mistakes and ever doubting her friends, realizing that her true family and place in life was on the Colossus the entire time. Whoa, what a ride! I especially love the first half of the finale with Tam's defection and escape, as well Kylo Ren's appearance. Things did start getting a bit more predictable and questionable logic-wise in the second half of the episode, but it wasn't too bad. Could things had been better? Oh yeah, totally for sure, but I'm content with what we got. Especially for a show that originally was only supposed to be about a bunch of people racing in the Star Wars universe. Simple premise, simple show. Just like with Season 1's finale, there were quite a bit of dark moments, especially more here. Not only did Commander Pyre, Jace Rucklin, and Tyranny all bite the dust, but Tyranny's death by Kylo Ren was, above all, very dark for a show like this, and not even shown on screen. Then again, when she did die from Kylo, the entire Star Destroyer at the same time also blew up, killing everyone else on board. So that death was kind of pointless, because even if Kylo didn't kill her, then she'd be dead anyway. But I do still appreciate that Kylo did something in this episode. It was more about the meaning of the death anyways, not whether it was done or not. Then again, I did like the scene where Kylo, by using the Force, had both Tyranny and Pyre almost shoot each other, which I think is one of the darker parts of this whole episode. I do have to say that CB23 was without a doubt the MVP of the finale. Pretty much everything that went well for the good guys was because of her. Allowing Kaz and Yeager to escape from the First Order twice, helping to get the transmission out to the Colossus, and even shutting down the shields of the Star Destroyer too. Had it not been for CB23, then there's no way this series would have got such a happy ending. Really such an underrated droid. One of my favorite parts too in the whole episode was seeing all the different ways the civilians aboard the Colossus were fighting with the First Order. And hot damn, that part of Ansi randomly coming in with a heavy repeater gun and mowing down stormtroopers left to right was absolutely priceless. Such an awesome scene despite it being a little too short. As you can see, I for the most part really liked this episode. Of course, there were things that I didn't care for or kind of bugged me too. Like for instance, I was very disappointed in Tyranny, who was surprised to see that Tam had defected. This entire time, I figured Tyranny had some master grand plan set up for Tam, playing the long con and all, but that never amounted to anything. Another thing that really disappointed me too was the lack of B1 and the B2 battle droids. I thought they would become the Colossus's main defense force against the First Order, but they never showed up here in this episode. Nor did Niku even mention them once. I guess B1 was actually killed by the Aeocians from the previous episode. I mean, I didn't want to believe that would be the case, but again, sad to say it was. Really feels like such wasted potential having gotten rid of them so quickly like that. As for the main big battle, I was once again very surprised to see how no one on the good guys' side died. Literally everyone survived despite having to face such an enormous fleet. 10 starfighters against like 100 or more TIE fighters, and you're telling me none of the good guys bit the dust? Not even one person? I'm sorry, but that's impossible. Also, I found it incredibly odd on why the First Order would bring 14 or more Star Destroyers to bombard a spot on the planet which already one Star Destroyer can do by itself, yet continue to fight the Colossus with only one Star Destroyer, especially knowing that they need to destroy it at all costs, and are always failing to do it. That made no sense to me at all. Oh, and I think I should mention that I also felt sorry for Jace Rucklin too. Gotta say, I did expect a bit more from his character and felt like he was wasted here in the end. But yeah, even with that all said and done, this series finale was still one fun ride in my opinion. I know there are people not happy with it, especially since there weren't any tie-ins to the Rise of Skywalker. But why would there be? That's part of the Skywalker saga, the story of the Resistance faction as a whole. Not the Colossus, whose story is just trying to get by and survive during this whole war until it's finally forced to fight. Not to mention, according to Pablo Hidalgo, production on Season 2 had already commenced back in 2017, even before J.J. Abrams had completed the final script for The Rise of Skywalker. So it was never really feasible to do in the first place, and that's something not a lot of people tend to realize. Yeah, Resistance as a whole was largely inconsequential, especially when compared to the Clone Wars and Rebels. But that's the thing, it was never supposed to be anything more than a fun filler in the sequel trilogy aimed at a younger audience. This show never tried to be anything more than that, it was never its goal. Of course, had it still been better? For sure, without a doubt. Then again, for what it was, I enjoyed it. If anything, I'm now even more excited to watch a more deeper and mature Star Wars animated show. Like, oh, I don't know, Season 7 of the Clone Wars, which comes out in only a few weeks' time. But that was my take on this episode and pretty much all of Star Wars Resistance. Let me know what you all thought about it in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.